Well, good afternoon, Friday afternoon, and welcome to another transfer story, transfer show. Am I going to bring you anything new? Probably not. It's more of an opinion based show today because there isn't really much to sort of bring you up to date on that we haven't already said. There's still transfer targets being talked about. There's still deals being done. Apparently, we're close on one and not so close on the other. At the moment, it feels as if there's more players leaving the club than there is coming in. We've heard about Joseph Anang, who's going out on loan again, the under 23s goalkeeper. Mipo Odebeko, the young striker, out on loan again to Doncaster. There's talk about the potential of Issa Diop going to Newcastle. And even young left back Emmanuel Longello apparently being looked at by Nottingham Forest, and apparently they made a £400,000 bid for the young player, but we're holding out for £1 million. And I just wonder if even that's true, and whether we do want to get rid of any of our youngsters. And so, what I wanted to do today is really do a bit of a comparison of. Let's look at the latest players. Nothing new. We're still talking about the likes of Broja and the likes of Caleta and Lingard, etc. But what I wanted to do is, and really throw the cat amongst the pigeons, is if we don't buy any players in this transfer window or bring any players in on loan, do we have enough in our squad? And I'm talking about the squad, including the under 23, some of the youngsters, to be able to see this season out and see it out with some kind of getting the top four, FA Cup, Europa League glory, etc., etc. Now, I know a lot of people are going to turn around and say immediately, "Well, no, we don't have enough," because good grief, how can we possibly play all the youngsters and succeed? Well, it's happened before. Man United in the past have played youngsters and won the leagues with them. All right, people are going to argue, well, our players aren't as good as Man United. Let's not forget our youngsters at the moment, our under 23s, are top of the Premier League too, and top by merit, not by default, not because other teams are doing badly. It's because those players are doing well, and there are some very, very good players in the under 23. So I just wanted to do a bit of a comparison. So let's bring you up to date first of all on some of the latest stories. And where should we start? Let's do Lingard because top of everyone's list at the moment. So the latest is that Lingard is on the break, Man United break in Dubai with the rest of the squad. And the latest story is that we're still hoping for Lingard now. Rangnick has said that he is quite comfortable about allowing certain players to do it. He hasn't named them, but he's quite comfortable about letting a few players go within the Man United squad. We all already know that Martial has left for Seville, and there is a lot of speculation that maybe, just maybe, Rangnick himself is quite comfortable in letting in seeing offers in for Lingard. Now, of course, the big question is: does Man United, who have just grabbed fourth place ahead of us, do Man United want to strengthen our squad by allowing Lingard to go? We've seen what Lingard has done. Look at last season's stats. 9 goals for West Ham, 5 assists in just 16 appearances. We know what a special talent he can be, and we know what he can offer us. So that's the dilemma. I think Man United will let him go, but I think they'd rather let him go to probably a foreign club. I'm surprised that they've not negotiated. If there was ever a deal with Newcastle, that they've not managed to negotiate a deal with Newcastle. The concern is West Ham United have all of a sudden become a hot topic in the Premier League. What we did last season and what we're currently doing this season, despite losing a few games and games that we should have won, we're still fifth in the league. All right, there are clubs around us that could overtake us, but that will still knock us down to maybe 8th and still within spitting distance of trying to get Champions League. Look, I think it's becoming tougher and tougher as the season goes on. You know, the more points we drop here and there, of course, it's going to get tougher. But Lingard can offer us something, and I just wonder if Man United are holding out, not so much because they. More because they don't want to sell to a rival, and we have become rivals for top four in the Premier League, and that's a major boost for West Ham United, considering where we were a few years ago. So I think the feelers are still out. I think you know, the other people, Anton has mentioned it. We've talked about it before. I just think there's still some embers that left there that we can look at, you know, fanning the flames on. I just think that quite possibly we might see Lingard walking through the door. If we don't, then what's the alternative? Well, we've got a young lad. If we look at the same position where Lingard plays in an attacking midfield position, there's a young lad in the West Ham squad that I'm still surprised has not yet had any senior time in. And that, of course, is Armstrong Oko Flex. Talked about him many times before, 19 years of age. He was originally a left back in the youth system at Arsenal and Celtic. He joined the Celtic squad after and debuted in the squad in 2021. And he scored a hat trick for when he came to West Ham. He scored a hat trick for us in under 20 minutes. He's a standout young player, and people say, well, you know, you can't rely on youth. Why not? You know, what age did Declan start in our team when he got his first senior appearance? What about some players elsewhere? I'm going to talk about another youngster who's made his Premier League debut, who's not much older than Oko Flex, and yet we're sort of scrambling and saying we should buy him. But let's concentrate on Oko Flex for a minute. He signed a professional contract with West Ham when he came to us in the summer of 2021. He is a talent. He is a player that has demonstrated for the under 23s just what a talent he is. This season, his career stats to date for the under 23s is 17 appearances, 12 goals with 1 assist. He has got. If anyone watches any of the under 23 games, you'd understand what this talent is. Everyone's going to go, yeah, but that's the under 23s. That's the Premier League too. That's nothing close to what to the Premier League, etc., etc. I get that, but you've got to start somewhere. And if you're recognised at under 23 level, and you can demonstrate what a good talent you are, then why not make the breakthrough? Declan had to do it. Various other players had to do it. We talk about our youth talent. We talk about our academy and how good it's always been. So why not? Why not give him an opportunity? I think he'll get his opportunity in the next game for West Ham United, which of course is in the FA Cup against Kidderminster. I'd be very, very surprised if he doesn't get enough game time to demonstrate what he's capable of doing. And if you looked at what he did in the last 2 games for the under 23s, you know, getting the ball from his own half, beating a number of players, almost scoring, setting up goals, etc., etc. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of good speed. He's very, very technically able, and he's one of the players that you've got to argue is probably going to make it for West Ham United. Now, I talked about a player that we're after, that we're all crying out for, and that, of course, is Armando Broja. Now, he's only 20 years of age. He's only 1 year older than Oko Flex, and yet everyone is screaming, "Go and buy him! Go and buy him! He's brilliant! He's brilliant!" He's made 20 appearances so far with 7 goals and 1 assist in the Premier League. Yes, he looks strong. He looks good. He looks like a talent that we should be going for without a shadow of a doubt. Now, the difference is, of course, that Broja has proven it in the Premier League, and I understand that. I understand people are saying he's in the Premier League, he's proven it. But it's interesting what the Chelsea manager said about him the other week, where basically he said he's only done half a season. Let's see if he's going to be as good as what he's done in the first half of the season, in the second half of the season, before Chelsea make a decision on what they want from him. Now, there's talk about us going in for a last-minute deal. Would it be good? Yeah, why not? It's 7 goals in 20 games for Southampton so far. Absolutely. It kind of makes sense that you'd want to go for a player like that. But who's to say that Oko Flex couldn't do the same if he was given a good run? Now, all right, there's a difference. The difference is that Broja or Broja, whatever you want to call him, however it's pronounced, I don't know, is a striker. whereas Occo Flex is an attacking midfielder. But let's go back to Lingard. Lingard is an attacking midfielder, cuts in from the left hand side, which is exactly what Occo Flex does as well. So they're similar, and yet we want Broja and we want him, and we've got to sign him up. We're absolutely going to lose out if we don't sign him. I think the possibility is that I don't know what loan deal Southampton have got. I'm sure Chelsea would be able to call him back if need be, if a deal's on the table. But Southampton are in for him. Of course they want to keep him. He's done really well for them, and apparently they're in maybe with a first shout. And it goes back to what I've said about Lingard and Man United not wanting to sell to us. Why would Chelsea want to sell to us? We're in the same position. Chelsea would be strengthening us. Now, Chelsea, you could argue, and maybe just that bit further ahead, we probably won't reach them in the Premier League with the number of games left, etc. Oh, it's mathematically possible, of course, but Chelsea might be a little bit more comfortable in dealing with West Ham, whereas Man United for Lingard probably wouldn't be. But he's a decent talent, Broja. He's proven it, but it's interesting. The Chelsea manager has said, let's see what he does in the second half of this season. I've got a feeling that it's quite possible that Broja will be there'll be clubs clamouring for him in the summer, but I'm not so sure he'll be going anywhere in this window. But you never know. You never know. And of course, if we want to look further up front again, we've got another young player in our academy, 17-year-old Sonny Perkins. And people have said, oh, well, use him, bring him on. We came on against Leeds, of course, in the Premier League game a few weeks ago. Now, for me, I think Perkins is still learning his trade. He's a little bit behind someone like Broja, and he's a little bit behind someone like Occo Flex. Still decent. You can see from his club career at West Ham United for the under-18s and under-23s, 49 appearances, 15 goals, 4 assists. In this season alone, 18 appearances, 10 goals and 1 assist. He's done well. 3 senior appearances for West Ham United so far. And one could argue that he's a talent worth looking at, but I just think he's still learning his trade. I think for him, the difference being is that I think he is a player at the age of 17 will probably need to go out on loan for a season or so in order to prove that he can do it before he's ready for the Premier League. All right, what about defence? Well, we've got a couple of players, haven't we? The latest story, we're still in with for a shout with Caleta. Apparently, we are going to, we're looking at trying to sign him. Apparently, we've offered a deal where we loan him a loan to buy offer, but the club don't want Marseille don't want to do that, and I get that. I can understand why Marseille wouldn't want to. If they're going to sell him, Marseille are in financial trouble, as we know, and apparently they've dropped their value down to about 15-16 million pound for the player. He's a good player. I've talked about Caleta when Pellegrini was still here. We did a bit of a small video about him to show his strengths for Marseille and for Croatia, etc. And I suggested back then, about a year or so ago, or even longer, that he seems like the sort of player who's got the stature, who's got the build for Premier League football. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if we do try and do a deal for Caleta. Now, I've been told that what Moyes prefers is to have a left-sided, left-footed centre-back. And maybe Caleta can play both sides. He can play on the left side of centre-back, he can play on the right side of centre-back. But just maybe Moyes might be looking for something a little bit different. However, if we do go in for Caleta, it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. He's a talent. I think he would do very well for West Ham United. I think there's no doubt about it. He's an international. So why not? What's there not to like about him? But another player that I've talked about over the last couple of weeks or so is Attila Szalai from Fenerbahce. Now, look, he's a centre-back. He's left-footed. And the difference between him and Caleta is that Szalai can also play at left back and at left wing back as well. So his versatility is a little bit more than Caleta. And playing a natural left-footed centre back means that you can put Kurt Zouma in his natural position of right-sided centre back. Look, That's gone a bit quiet. The rumor mill on Zalai, but again, it wouldn't surprise me. Is at the right age, 23 years of age, etc. It wouldn't surprise me if we went in for him. Now, the different. Let's look again at our youth squad, and you've got to compare Zalai Zalai with. I wouldn't compare this player with Caleta, but certainly compare Zalai with Ajibola Alese. Why? Because again, he's left-footed. He's a centre back. He's proven during pre-season that he can play at left back as well. So he's got some versatility there. He's the under-23s captain. And at 21 years of age, you've got to argue that maybe, just maybe, Alase's time might be here. If we don't sign a player, then why not? Why not bring him in? He's been just like Flex and just like Perkins. Alese has been in the senior squad. He's been on the sub bench, not yet used. People will say, is he any better than Diop? It's a tall order to throw in a young player. But Diop is only 23 years of age, only 2 years older than Alese. And some may argue with the kind of, I still like Diop, but one may argue, why wouldn't Alese be any better than Diop? There's only one way to find out. I think we've seen Alese in some senior games as well, but I think he'll be playing against Kidderminster as well. So again, we're all talking about we need signings, we need to go out and buy players. Quite possibly. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's going to be 3 or 4 young players coming into the squad overnight and filling all the gaps. I'm not saying that, but quite possibly you might have already you might have a central defender that may be able to do a job for us. You might have an attacking midfielder that may be able to do a job for us. Another player in our youth squad is, of course, Emmanuel Longello. We all sang his praises when he played against Zagreb in the Europa League, and we all said he was probably man of the match in that game. Absolutely fantastic. He's been with West Ham United from the age of 10. You could see he's adventurous, he's athletic, he's good in the attack. Very impressive against Zagreb. He made his senior debut 2 years ago against Hull in the Carabao Cup. 102 appearances for West Ham United, under 18s and under 23s. Very good number of assists for a left back as well. So he can create. And he's had 2 senior appearances for West Ham. This season alone, 16 appearances with 3 assists. Now, why not? I know people are going, we need players, etc. But what is Moyes going to do? Moyes keeps saying, I'm not going to bring anyone in just for the sake of it. We've got to accept that. But there's still 3.5 days to go in the transfer window. We could still get players over the line. And my money is, I don't know where my money is, to be quite honest with you. For me, if I still think it's going to be Lingard. I know people are saying, forget about him. Time's come and gone, etc., etc. I think there's still a hope at West Ham. Broja, I don't know. That could be more of a summer signing than it would be a signing for now. Attila Zalai, I'd love him to come. I think he would be a fantastic player for us. I think he's a strong player, tall, 6'4", and he's he would offer us versatility. But look, 23 years of age, and then when you start comparing him, like I say, to the players that we've got. Longello, 21 years of age, only a couple of years younger. Why not give him a run? Why not see whether he's capable or not? I'm hoping it doesn't go to Nottingham Forest. I think I'd be very, very disappointed if we sold him to Nottingham Forest. Wouldn't be so disappointed if we loaned him to Nottingham Forest to get 6 months playing time and see what he's like when he comes back. But to sell him, I think that would be a big mistake for West Ham. Alese, he's had a couple of loan spells. He's gone out, he hasn't played a lot of games out on loan, but he's been out on loan. And why not bring him in, and why not see what he's capable of doing for the club? Would he be any worse than Diop? It will be a tall order. Absolutely, I get it. But would he be any worse? I don't know. Perkins, as I've said, I think Perkins is still learning his trade. I was actually quite surprised in the Leeds game that Flex didn't come on and Perkins did. I get it. because Moyes was chasing the game. He wanted to put another striker on. But for me, what he could have done is he could have maybe put Bowen up front alongside Antonio, and maybe brought Oko Flex on instead to maybe run at the Leeds defence. I think this is the player that's likely to demonstrate that he's actually first team ready. Age shouldn't matter. If you're good enough, you should play. And I've got a feeling that quite possibly, if we don't bring anybody in, that Okoflex will be one of the young players coming through the ranks in order to play for West Ham senior team. Diop, the rumor, like I said, about him being, going to Newcastle, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it would be rather just foolish of West Ham United to actually sell Issa Diop if we don't bring a player in. If people saying if we get Caleta, then it makes sense to let Diop go. I say no. I say even if we do get Caleta, let's not forget that Ogbonna's still out injured. Zuma has only just come back. Dawson, I would still have. Moyes started the season with 4 senior central defenders, and I think at the very least he'll still want 4 senior central defenders to be playing. And you could see Dawson and Diop maybe going back to the subs bench with someone like Caleta and Zuma being the first choice. I would welcome him with open arms. I think he'll be a very, very good player for us. Right, short and sweet. Let's see who's in the chat, and let's say hello to everyone before I go off and finish my lunch. Good afternoon, James. I hope you're well. Father Snowman, I hope you're well too. Enjoy the show. Oh, you're not here? Oh, well, shame. I hope all is well with you, and enjoy it when you watch the repeat. Who else have we got? Good evening, Kenny. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Cyber, how are you? David, I hope you're well. Gaza, how are you? Marcus, I hope you're well. Steve is here. Afternoon, Black Country. Good afternoon, Helen. I hope you're well. John, how are you, mate? If we don't get anyone in, then he has to give youth a chance. No choice, really. What do you think, though? What do you think of what I said? It's not the end of the world, really, honestly, if we don't get anyone in. I know people are going to say it's going to be. I know people are saying that we do need something different. We need strength in depth, etc. And I know people are fed up with Yarmolenko and Masuaku being the only choices. And we know that David Moyes is risk averse, so sometimes he won't use youth when we're crying out for it. But if, for argument's sake, we don't get anybody in, for argument's sake, do you think that we've got young players that should be good enough? Okoflex, Alese, maybe Longello as well, that can fill 1 or 2 gaps. What do you think? Black Country, it is me. I know. What a surprise, eh? Good afternoon, Crosshammer. How are you? Rob, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining as well. Zoom Wheels Brian, please let us get 2 players. We all want it. Tell me what you think. If we do not get any players in, have we got decent players in the youth system that can maybe step up and do a job for us? Good afternoon, James. I keep saying good evening. I'm so used to doing evening shows. We'll be fine as long as we don't play Masuaku and Yarmolenko. See, that's interesting. Afternoon to you, Adam. I hope you're well. Good afternoon, James Yeoman. Do you think Moyes is being too picky? Yeah, I do. But then you can't argue with his choices already this season, already since he's been back at West Ham, should I say. Souček, Bowen, I mean Dawson. When Dawson came in, we were like, what? And yet even Dawson did really well for us. So even though we as fans get really frustrated and we think we know best for West Ham, of course you've got to get players in, and of course you've got to do this, and of course you've got to do that and the other. Moyes does things his own way. Is he being too picky? Yeah, because I'm going to do another show after the transfer window to sort of talk about comparisons. I've already compared some of the youth with some of the players that we're targeted with. Probably after the transfer window, sort of look at some of the players that we've been linked to and compare. Are we that good? Are the players that we've got that much better than the players that we've been linked to? And let's not forget, being linked to a player through social media and through newspapers doesn't necessarily mean we're really linked to them. There's a lot of stories out there, and if we're linked to every player, we'd be signing 20 players each transfer window and so on. Yeah, I do think he's being picky, but I get why he is being picky. And you can't argue with his record so far. Good afternoon, Artel. I hope you're well. We are seen as a threat, absolutely. Newcastle back in talks with Lingard, I heard this morning, but this is the rumour. Apparently they're not. Apparently they've walked away. You know, only the other day people were saying that he's in Dubai signing a contract for Newcastle. That couldn't be further from the truth. The trouble with rumours is that's what they are. They're rumours. And the thing is, you know, at the moment, especially with West Ham. David Moyes, I've said this in a couple of times in my shows. David Moyes has cut out all the room, all the all the stuff that we've been accustomed to in the past to hear. You know, the leaks. You know, the constant leak story leaks. They're gone. That's why we're all speculating. That's why we're sitting here 3 days before the window shuts going, we don't know who he's going to sign. We don't know if he's going to sign anyone. And we don't even know, you know, this £50 million player, striker, apparently we've offered. 50 mil. Who's that? You know, no one knows. You know, the ITKs don't know. No one seems to know what is going on. And that's because the leaks have completely dried up. Would it surprise me if a player walked through the door on Monday evening, just signed for 50 million? No, it wouldn't. Because that's the way Moyes operates. Look at what was happening in the summertime. It was going to be one central defender or another. It was going to be Zuma or the, I can't remember his name, the chap from Fiorentina. And like 1 minute we were going to sign the player from Fiorentina. Next minute it was going to be Zuma, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. You know, Moyes has kept a tight grip, and rightly so. I don't think we, you know, of course it makes it difficult for us to put shows out, but I think it's the right way to do business. We've become so accustomed to the leaks. You know, we've known stuff that players and staff at West Ham haven't known before. You know, and that's not really the right way to go at our business now, because it's the other extreme, because we really don't know what's going on. We all get frustrated, you know. Ashley, nice to see the Premier League taking action against the cheats for calling games. Yeah, I know. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the West Ham Weekly, by the way, on Sunday night. So to avoid the transfer deadline, because we're going to do a transfer deadline special show. So the West Ham Weekly is going to be on Sunday night, not Monday night, and I'm going to talk about that because I think the damage is already done. The teams that have already have already used COVID as an excuse have cheated already. You know, so after the horses you know, after the horses bolted, as they say. Victor, Manu wanted a 10 million in loan fee for him. He's not worth. He is worth 10 mil, but not now, not with 6 months to go. But if that is what it's going to take, do it. I think, you know, because we know he's going to improve West Ham United. Cyber, why did Chelsea then sell Zuma to us? Actually, it's a really, really good point. Totally a good point. You know, I agree. You know, I think what the speculation is at the moment is, Cyber, we're halfway through the season, and you know, teams are all chasing the Champions League, so they don't want to strengthen other teams around them. I think in the summertime, you didn't know what was going to happen. I wonder if Chelsea thought in the summertime, West Ham had one good season. I doubt very much they're going to do it again. And I think we've surprised everybody by being able to demonstrate that we have been consistent with our form. So I think it was a little bit different. Good point, but I think a little bit different. In the summertime, it's all fresh. You know, no points on the no points on the table. You know, so Chelsea, yeah, to have him. But now, halfway through the season, it's like, oh, should we be strengthening you in order for you to catch us up? Bit of difference, but good point. Graham, good morning from Alberta. Good morning to you, mate. The Mancs are running scared of us, and they're showing just how petty they are. They absolutely are. I think they are running scared. They do not want to strengthen our squad, and I get that. You know, if I was at Man United, I'd be saying, well, why would we want to strengthen West Ham? You know, it's true. Absolutely. James, do you think Man United are messing up Lingard's world? Yeah, they absolutely are. They absolutely are. It's going to, Lingard himself, you know, I think the only option kind of left for Lingard, and I doubt very much players don't do it in the modern day, is to hand in a transfer request. I think that's the only option available to him at the moment. Good afternoon, Bonnie. How are you? If Flex was ready, do you think he would have not played already? He would have been involved in first team training, and under 23 is not good enough to judge a player. I get what you're saying, Bonnie. Absolutely. Difference is he has been in the last 5, 6, 7 senior squads. He's been on the bench. I think I'm surprised he hasn't got game time. And if you look at what he's doing for the under 23s, and I know it's not you can't judge, but I'm sorry, you've got to start somewhere. Declan was in the under 23s, and he's come through. Other players have been in the under 23s and they've come through. Ben Johnson, under 23s, he's come through. He's broken through. Harrison Ashby is a right back, highly regarded at right back, and he's almost ready. There are players. What else can you do? I know you can loan players out, etc. But Occo Flex has played for the senior team at Celtic. Occo Flex has done just that little bit more than some of our other under 23s have, and I think he is actually ready. And there's only one way to find out. Adam, if we don't get anyone in, I can see us finishing 8th, at best maybe 7th. Yeah, that's possible. I've said 5th. I said 5th from the start of the season. I'm kind of sticking to that. Artel, to be seen as a rival, we'll need a few players alongside our under. Absolutely agree. I totally agree. What I'm saying is, if we do not bring players in, what then? What's David Moyes going to do? Is he going to continue with his mantra of Masuaku, Yarmolenko? Or should he give an opportunity to say Occo Flex rather than Yarmolenko? Should he give an opportunity to say Alese rather than Masuaku or Longello rather than you're not going to know until you actually give these players a chance. Now, I think, like I said, in the game against Kidderminster, I think we're going to see a couple of these players, and we're going to probably see what they're like. You're going to argue, yeah, it's only against Kidderminster, but you've got to cut your teeth somewhere. You've got to cut your teeth somewhere. Gaza, yeah, OK Flex needs to be given a chance. I agree. Bonnie again, loads of our youth players smash the under 23s and end up in League One. Difference being the under 23s were on top of that league. Look at some of the other teams, Liverpool and I don't know, other clubs. They bring their youngsters through. They give them a taste of first team football, and they do really well. But I agree with what was said, about having other players alongside them. What Tartel said, you can't, they can't. But then you got the likes of Declan alongside them. You got the likes of Bowen. You got the likes of Antonio. They're not going to be playing on their own. They're going to have these senior players alongside them. But I get what you're saying, Artel. Some fresh blood as well. The difference here, Bonnie, is they're not only smashing the under 23s, they're smashing the league. They're top of that league. We haven't had that. 2 seasons ago, we were in Premier League 2, Division 2, and we only scraped through staying in Premier League 2, Division 1 last season, and now we're smashing that league because of the quality of the under 23s. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're all going to come in and smash the Premier League as well, but why not? Why not give them an opportunity? Occo Flex, there's nothing to say that he wouldn't succeed in the Premier League. Patrick, I agree with you, Stel. Strange that Perkins got the nod over Occo Flex. I watched the highlight and live games, and if you watch the live games, you see that Occo Flex is literally, as an attacking player, that step above most of the other players in the under 23s. Artel, watched him in the last 3 games. He's better than Perry. Is that Perkins you mean, mate? Graham, youth talent means nothing unless it's given the chance to shine. Give him that chance. Bang on. That's exactly what I'm thinking, mate. Bonnie, I remember seeing Martinez in the under 20. He was brilliant. Step up Premier League is very tough. Totally agree. Not disagreeing with you, but if you don't give him a try, you're never going to know. You're never going to know. James, what's the point of bringing in good young players if we don't use them? Exactly. We went out and got Occo Flex from Celtic. Celtic didn't want to let him go. He let his contract or whatever he had run out, and then he was available. And we went in for him. And Celtic didn't want to let him go. I think Celtic were looking at him as a first-team player. And all right, I know you're going to say, yeah, but the Scottish League is not the same as the Premier League. I get all that. But you can't, when we're looking at players elsewhere, in Swiss leagues and stuff like that, the first thing people say is, well, it's not the Premier League. And yet we keep going on about we want Cabral from the Swiss league and we want this player and we want that player. It's got to be, you've got to level the playing field somehow. Adam, Fornals is off form. That's why Occo Flex should get in the team. Give him a try with nothing to lose. Agreed. Harley, good afternoon to you. Apparently, we're in talks with Caleta Carr. Talked about that earlier, mate. I would be absolutely delighted if Caleta Carr came to West Ham United. I think he would absolutely offer us a lot. So I can't do every comment, so please do forgive me. Jim, me, I'm good, thank you. Are you replying to someone? Oh yeah, Gazza's asking you how you are. Adam, if they were not wearing the shirts, it's all rumours. Moyes is the only one who knows. Bang on. Absolutely true. Harley, if Marseille are in trouble financially, would you try and nab Payet in a deal if we can't get Lingard? No. No, don't go back. Artel, Moyes is too defensively minded for the to the detriment of the forward line. He can be, and yet the irony, Artel, which was talked about a few, I think, in the show on Monday night, is under Moyes, he's the per average highest goal scoring manager, since Billy Bonds. So basically, since Billy Bonds days to today, West Ham have scored on average more goals per game than any other manager, and yet he's too defensively minded. Now, when that stat came out, I was shocked. It was like, you are kidding me. But apparently so. Ever since Billy Bonds up to the present day, David Moyes' team, West Ham United team, has scored on average more goals per game than any other manager. I don't know. Defensively minded, I think he's right to be solid at the back. But I think we see it as like when he goes out against certain teams and seems to set up like a counter-attacking team. It's like, oh my God, David Moyes, you're not giving us a chance, and yet we've scored more goals on average under him than any other manager. Schmiegel, collect a car will be a good signing. He absolutely would. Bonnie, I do agree youth players should get a chance with the first team. It's easier than for them to that. It's easier for them to make the transition if they're playing with the first team 11 rather than the reserves like Lowball Crom. Bang on, absolutely agree, mate. Totally. Kaiser, good afternoon to you. Who have we been? I don't know. I absolutely don't know who this. The only two players I can think that maybe we put in a bid that big for is Calvert-Lewin or El Naziri. They're the only two strikers I can think that we would offer that much money for. But it's pointless. It's been turned down anyway. Good afternoon, Anil. Would you trust the youth when we are getting to the business end of the season, or splash out now when we are attractive due to our league positions in Europa? This is the thing, though, Anil. A lot of the players that we're looking at, apart from the likes of, say, Lingard, who we know is tried and tested, etc., we know what he can bring. A lot of the younger players that were Broja, 20 years of age, Oko Flex, 19 years of age. Broja has only done it, by the way, for half a season at Southampton, and yet we're all going, we got to get him, we got to get him, we got to get him. How do we not know that Oko Flex wouldn't do the same if he was given the same opportunity as Broja has? That's what I'm saying. So I get what you're saying. I think certainly Caleta would improve us without a doubt. I think Lingard would improve us without a doubt. But even some of the other players that I've mentioned, Attila Zalai, for example, I think he's a very, very promising player. 23 years of age. Would he do it? Don't know, but I'd like him. I like the sound of him. I like what I've seen of him, his stats, etc. Broja, 20 years of age. Would he be able to do it for West Ham? Maybe, maybe not. But Oko Flex, he's young enough. Why not? You never know. You never know until you try. So it's an interesting question, Anil. I don't know what the answer is. If we were definitely getting Lingard and if we were definitely getting Caleta, I would argue that you're right. They would offer us something now. Because youth, untried, untested, you just don't know. Let's scroll down and see who else we got. Good afternoon, Desjardins. Hi, Stel. Dithering is getting ridiculous now. Give Oko Flex a chance. Give Oko Flex a chance if you're not signing anyone. I do agree. Something's got to happen like that, hasn't it? Schmiegel, if we aren't willing to spend money, then why don't we just dip into the free transfer market? There's tons of good players available. Good point. Mike, but you see, the thing is, though, Schmiegel, it's not about the value, because the board have said we'll back Moyes, tell us who you want, and we'll try and go out and get him. So it's actually not about the money. So, Mike, the squad size is a direct reason why the youngsters aren't being played. Too much pressure on them to be perfect. Good point, Mike. Yeah. It's me, Sam. Good afternoon to you. We won't sign anyone. Tight owners, they only look for disrespectful, cheap loan offers. Get ready for the same old excuses. As I've just mentioned, Sam, I mean, as much as I know people hate the board, this is the one time that unfortunately you cannot blame the board. David Moyes, basically, when there was when Moyes was being offered a new contract, because if you remember, he came in, for a short-term contract the second time round, just like the first time round, and then when West Ham offered him a contract, he basically stipulated certain criteria. He basically said, if I'm going to sign this long-term contract, it's going to be because I've got total control over transfers. I want to set up a scouting system, etc., etc. Moyes has got all that now. All the board have to do is sign the check, and the loan to buy. I don't think that's just the board. I actually think David Moyes also likes that approach. Souček was loaned to buy. Way back, Lanzini was loaned to buy. We've had a number of players on the loan to buy deal, and I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that, because the last thing you want to do is bring in a player, find out they're a dud, and then you're stuck with them. So I don't mind it. I don't mind the loan to buy, but we can't actually blame the board this time round, to be honest with you, mate. Adam, Alese is another one who should have had more minutes. Watched him and needs to be in the first team squad. Look, class and little mistakes he's made, he will learn. He's also in the first. I mean, he is training alongside the first team. He's on the subs bench, and I guess you would argue, what would you do? Would you drop Diop and play Alese if we don't buy another central defender? Yeah. Big question to be asked there, to be answered there. Gaza, we don't want to play too many youngsters. We don't want to play too many youngsters against Kidderminster. They'll be up for that game. I agree, and I don't think we will play too many. I think there'll probably be about 4. I think you'll probably see Areola in goal. You might see Alese. You may see Oko Flex. Maybe. So I think there might be about 3 or 4. Maybe. Probably not much more than that. Artel, Creswell, understudy, Longjello. I agree, but then we haven't seen that much of Longjello. But yet, if you watch Longjello for the under-23s, he looks pretty class. Harley, lot of opportunities for the youth. Bonner out. Dawson is short term. Kral, Noble, Yarmolenko on the way out. Lack of strikers. Well, another thing that we've got to look forward to. Well, not look forward to, is the summer transfer window. That's going to be massive for West Ham United, because, as you just pointed out, there's quite a number of players that ended their contracts, and so on. So we've got a lot of positions to fill. The youth have got to be given an opportunity. We can't go out and buy 7 or 8 new players in the summertime. So some of these youth have got to shine sooner or later. Mandy, good afternoon to you. Hi, Stel. Do we have targets? Do we have targets? So if you splash the cash and stop offering 60% of the asking price, we might get in 1 or 2 key players. Let's not lose sight of us being in Europa, FA Cup, and playing for 6. Absolutely. I think the money's there. I think we all go on about we don't offer the asking price. Trust me, hardly any team offers the asking price. They will always go in with you got him at 20 million. We'll offer you 14. We'll offer you 14 plus add-ons. All right, we'll give you 16. All right, we'll agree 16 plus add-ons, something like that. Every team does it, mate. Sorry, man, they're calling you mate. But every team does it. Schmiegel. Moyes doesn't seem to want to change it. I don't think he has a plan B. Very stubborn manager, unfortunately. Yeah, I get that. I agree with that, and it frustrates me. And sometimes you look at a game and you think, change it, please change it, and yet he doesn't. And we don't get a result. So yeah, I kind of agree. Artel, Irons need all the players we can get right now. Yeah, Lincoln. Why are we talking about selling Longjello? Looks a real prospect to me. I totally agree. Absolutely agree. We shouldn't be looking at selling him. Happy to loan him out, but not to sell him. I totally agree. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Let's scroll down. Mike, Stel, Moyes' team got to walk before they can run. Stel, Moyes' team got to walk before they can run. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by it, mate. If you're talking about the youngsters, being able to sort of get up to speed, etc., before they, yeah, I agree. Victor, hi, Caleta really. Is Caleta really that good? If he is, why aren't any other club trying to buy him 15 mil? He is that good. I think he is a very, very good player. And I am actually surprised that no one is coming in for him, to be honest with you. But he's a quality player and he's got a lot of experience. Just the French league is an international, Champions League experience, Europa League experience. And as I said, I think his physique, his stature will suit Premier League football. Harley, there's no point to produce youth if we don't at least try them, especially when they're on fire and they have good chemistry. Good point. Lincoln, is Caleta left-footed? No. Seeing highlights yesterday, he is right-footed, but apparently he prefers to play on the left side. So hell, where are the signings? I don't know, mate. Where are they? Can't find them anywhere. But don't worry. There we go. Patrick, absolutely good point. Can't remember any ITK of calling Vlasic before it happened. Absolutely spot on, because this is the way David Moyes now does his business. He doesn't want to leak out any of the players that we're after, and rightly so. Frustrating for us, but rightly so. It's the way to do your business. Helen, Moyes is not doing himself any favours by not getting any players in so far. Does he actually know if any of the players he is after want to even come to us? Could be chasing a lost cause. Well, that's a really good point. I think Lingard will come. If the deal gets done, I can see Caleta possibly coming. Attila Zalai would be a massive step up for him from Fenerbahce, playing in the Premier League. I think we're a good prospect for a lot of players. To be honest with you, London-based, Premier League, chasing top 6, top 4, etc. What's not to like? Mandy, Man United still demanding silly money for Jesse, but FA Cup, he's tied. Yeah, I mean, he isn't Europa League tied because he's played in the Champions League for them. So he won't be tied for the Europa League, but you're absolutely right. He'd be tied for the FA Cup. I mean, that was just Rangnick. Let's scroll down. Adam, Moyes likes players with English experience, and that takes his time to bring them into the team. Sometimes it takes too long for me. I agree. Sometimes it does take too long for to ease a player in. Acid joke. Good afternoon. I've watched as many under-23 matches as I can, and I really think Alese, Longello, Baptiste, Perkins, and Ashby and Flex are great, but the game against Leicester showed they all need more development. Well, in that game, he only brought on Perkins, and I think that was actually the wrong choice. I think it should have been Flex coming on that game. Black Country, Villa done well with their new signings. That's why we need to push on, get some signings in. Bench is too weak, or we're going to go backwards. I hope not. I don't hope not. James, they don't want to use Flex in the squad as he can't be used in Europe. He cannot be used in Europe, but he absolutely can be used in the Premier League. So there's no reason why he shouldn't play some minutes in the Premier League. Anil, it's not that Moyes has never given youth a chance. Rooney was only 16. They just have to be good enough. Yeah, and he's actually blooded quite a lot of youngsters since he's been back at West Ham. You know, an awful lot of youngsters. And I think what we wanted to see now is, you know, if he's blooded them, you know, in the Europa League games or FA Cup or Carabao Cup, etc., is now give them an opportunity to play in a game that is a little bit more meaningful. Sean, Manuel should be thinking Lingard could help take points off their traditional rivals. Making it last minute will drive up loan purchase fee. That's a really good point. Yeah, so rather than seeing us as a threat, then maybe taking points off other teams around them. That's a really good point. George, good afternoon to you. Moyes is physical coach and he needs a striker. Absolutely agree, George. We all think he does. But will he bring one in? Adam, we shouldn't be loaning anyone to any division below the championship, so you can see if they have the passion and commitment. I like that point, Adam. Too often we loan players out to League One clubs, and is that a good? Is that any better than just playing them in the under-23s? Victor, the under-23s and under-18s are both second in their league. Under-23s are first in their league unless someone's overtaken them over in the last few games. But yeah, the under-18s are second in their league. Agreed. Perkins got the nod over Okofex because the latter was ineligible for Europa, but it's a Premier League game though, mate. So I don't understand that. We were playing a Premier League game in terms of playing Leeds. So I understand Okoflex is not eligible for Europa, but this was a Premier League game. So am I missing something there? Artel, under-23s, they've been good viewing this season. Harley, when you get a generation of youth winning together, play them in the senior games. Think the Man U boys of 92, 95, 99, West Ham youth squad, etc. Yeah, good point. James, do you think West Ham are the new Leicester? What I mean by that is an unfancy team in the top half and challenging for top half or the take. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I think despite us sort of slightly faltering over the last few weeks, December and January, we're still in with a shout. And yeah, I think we are the new Leicester. In fact, it looks as if we're kind of overtaking Leicester at the moment. They're not, they're there or thereabouts, but we seem to be a bit more consistent than them at the moment. Schmiegel, even if we aren't willing to spend money on transfers, why aren't we dipping into the free agency? Yeah, that's been mentioned already. Let's scroll down. Ruben, Arcoflex is tall, strong, and fast. He can also score from acute angles. Great technique and calmness in front of goal. What more do you need to give him a chance? Absolutely agree. And I'm really hoping that we do get to see him very, very soon. Brandon, good afternoon to you. Get Oba and Jesse. Oba and Jesse from where? Who are you talking? Lingard and who's Alba? Am I missing something there, mate? Richard, good afternoon to you. Think we might be getting too hung up on bringing in better players. At the moment, I just want our subs to be as good as our first 11 and for Moyes to actually trust them. That is a really, really, really good point, Richard. You know, Yarmolenko gets an awful lot of stick, but sometimes he's got a goal in him. Masuaku, you know, I'm not his biggest fan, absolutely not. But you know, he can, when he puts his effort in, he can create goals as well. Is he as good as? Are they as good as the first 11? Probably not. Kral, bit of a mystery as to why he's still not getting any game time. Vlasic in and out. You know, let's not forget Ben Rama's back now from the Afcon, so he'll be another option that's available to us. Have we got enough on the bench? Possibly. Maybe you can only make 3 subs per game, you know, in the Premier League. But it kind of, you know, in the Man United game, if Ben Rama was available and you know if he'd come back in time, would he have been a good option to bring on from the bench? Yes, he would have been. You know, would he have made a difference? Who knows? But we do have players that he can bring off on from the bench, but just a little bit deeper in strength would be good. Kenny, do you think we will get Brereton Diaz? No. Or DCC? DCC. Sorry, my head's gone. Duge Caleta car. Sorry. I think we'll get players in. I really don't think we'll get Brereton Diaz. To be honest with you, I absolutely don't. Blackburn are looking to get promotion from the Championship. And a lot of people are saying Brereton Diaz, bit of a one-season wonder at the moment. Caleta car. I hope so. I hope a deal's done for him. Epic. When do you play the kids if not against a team like Kidderminster? Exactly. Good afternoon. Oh no, good morning to you, Matthew. Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Scott, Kidderminster are a veteran team who play hard knock football. We need Dawson Noble. I think what people are saying is not Benny Orr now. Good point. I think what people are saying is put a mixture in there. I think you've got to blood some of the youngsters. Not going to do a whole team of youngsters, but 1 or 2 wouldn't hurt really. Ruben, as much as I like seeing Rice and Johnson coming into the first team, how exciting would it be to see a forward from our academy break through into the first team and do well? Absolutely good point. Trini, in my opinion, our youngsters want the opportunity to be tested against better opposition, but will Moyes do that? I guess this is the whole argument. Will Moyes bring on a youngster against the Premier League team? They have to be included regardless of whether we buy anyone or not. Good point, mate. Graham, I would try any youth player before Masuaku or Yarmolenko ever see game time again. Alex, people are overreacting way too much. Trust Moyes. I know you do, Stel, and people. He's building a project here. He is. And I think you're absolutely right, Alex. You know, I know it'll be disappointing if we don't finish top 4. Moyes himself has said we're not quite there yet. You know, Moyes has only been in the job 2 years now, and it is a work in process. You know, it's going to take time. We do get absolutely, totally and utterly frustrated when Moyes doesn't bring any players in. Look, he brought in the summertime Zuma, and Zuma has been a revelation. Areola, I think Areola is a fantastic goalkeeper, and I think Areola will actually stay. All right. Kral is a mystery. I think Kral should be playing more game time, and I think Vlasic. But this is what Moyes does. He did it with Bowen. He did it with Fornals. He did it with a number of other players. You know, he eases them in slowly. Ben Rama eases him slowly. Vlasic, I know we need players for the now. I think Vlasic can still do it, and I bet Vlasic will smash it next season for West Ham United. So we've got to trust him, and it does take time. And Moyes does it his way, and yet we're still fifth in the league. Andy, do you think if we don't get players in and we finish outside European places, these so-called number one targets will still come to us? I think Moyes knows who he wants, and I think we will still get players in. And because I think it's what Alex has just said. This is a project, and what we can do if we just finish outside the European places, West Ham United will go to certain players and go, look, we just missed out. We were in Europe last season. We just missed out this season. This is where we want to be, and I think they will sell them that vision. And I think there will still be one or two players. Of course, every top player wants to play in Europe. Absolutely, totally understand that. But I think we will still get one or two good players in. Kenny, yeah, I heard that medical at West Brom. Good luck to him. Good luck to him as well. I hope he does it, smashes it for him. Mike, we do this every window. We absolutely do. Absolutely agree. Dennis, afternoon, everyone. Apathetic Everton fan here, missing the Moyes. Hope you lot finish top four. You seem in a good place as a fan base. Thank you very much, Dennis. It's a shame about Everton, to be honest with you, because they're one of the more honest clubs around, and ironically, for me, looking at Everton whilst you had Moyes in as manager, that was the sort of team that I would wanted West Ham to aspire to, to keep hitting European places, etc. And it's a shame what's going on. I thought, you let Moyes go, and it seemed to be the time when things started not to be so good for Everton. But I like Everton. I think they're an honest team, and good luck to you guys as well. And thank you for joining the chat, mate. Gazza, nothing worse than waiting till 11 o'clock on the final day of the transfer window and no signings. I know. And we're going to do a show on Monday, and I bet you when it comes to 11 o'clock, we're going to feel exactly the same as you do, Gazza. Harley, apparently we're after Nottingham Forest defender Joe Worrell. Make that Alese loan seem more realistic. Not Alese, it's Longello they want, our left back. But, Joe Worrell, he's only 22, 23 years old. Again, playing championship football. Would Alese be no better or worse than him? Mandy, West Ham are in talks to try and get Marseille to accept their loan to buy bid for centre-back Duja Caleta. We've had this for, Mandy, a year and a half, 2 years or so. It's just that the detail keeps changing. We've been in for Caleta for 2 years and we still haven't bought him. Do I think we'll get him? I'd like it to happen, to be honest with you. Scott, thanks, Dennis. Hope you're well. Dennis, chatting to each other. Realistically, we'll be pleased with top 7 finish. 4th is beyond us without a big January window. I keep asking the same thing. Do you not think, would it be a tall order for some of our youngsters to fill some of the gaps? Some of you think yes, some of you think maybe. Richard, if Lingard feels the need to stay closer to home, Newcastle would be his preference? No, I don't think it would be, mate. I don't think he'd relish fighting a relegation battle. And I actually don't think, it's interesting. Certain players play certain styles of football depending on where their team is in the league. Last season, he came to us and we were near the top, and it inspired Lingard. I don't think Lingard would go to Newcastle and relish playing in a team that's fighting relegation. Steve, I would be happy with Origi and Caleta. Origi's still injured, and that's a real shame. What bad timing for him to be injured. But I would like Origi as well. Good afternoon, Aditya. Why is the club going for loans all the time? Why will Marseille accept that? They will lose all the value of the player because his contract is expiring next summer. No, it's not. His contract is till 2023, I think. Let's get the image up. Yeah, he's got a contract till 2023. So he's still got another year and a half left. I get why the club goes for loans, and I said it a moment ago. Last thing you want is a duff player that you can't get rid of. Adam, maybe Moyes will muddle through until the summer, and then so many players on a free, and his money will be spent on a couple of big players. You're nicking all my shows because I've got a show coming up about what he could do with the squad. in the summertime. But anyway, Chris, good afternoon to you. Nicolau, Greek or Cypriot, mate? That's a good point, mate. However, I can understand United's reason not to loan Lingard. Yeah, yeah. My lunch is cold. Yeah, I'm gonna have to heat it up again. Scott, Odebeko has no future here, so loan is a good idea. I don't know. Mipo Odebeko, he came with Mipo Odebeko was Man United at Man United. Man United were desperate to sign him, and he decided that his career path would be enhanced by going to another club. He looked at Man United, and apparently he thought it was going to take forever to break through the ranks there. So he came to West Ham. I think he was kind of not well used last season by Moyes by not being played enough against lower league teams in the FA Cup and League Cup or whatever, and he was thrown in at the deep end against Man United. I felt really sorry for him. I think he has a future. He's still only 17, 18 years of age, something like that, and I think I'm really hoping he will smash it at Doncaster and come back the better for it. Is this Longello loan deal for real? We don't know. Apparently, Nottingham Forest want to buy him, and I would be very upset if we actually sell him because I think he's a great prospect. Mandy, I think we're asking 1 million for the loan move, but Forest only offered $500,000. Yeah, but there's talk about that not being a loan move. There's talk about that being a permanent move, and I hope that's not the case. Aditya, Connor Coventry is not good enough if needs League One team to get a regular game time. He couldn't cut it at Peterborough. It's a really good point. It's a really good point. Oh, one of my lights has gone off. If we don't sign a striker in this window, it's imperative we give Flex a chance, even at the expense of Perkins and Yarmolenko. I don't think it'll be at the expense of Perkins, but certainly at the expense of Yarmolenko. I absolutely agree with you. Let's scroll down because there's so many comments and I've got to go eat and go back to work. Rainbow, I don't really have a lot of hate for Moyes because he's done so well for us, but I generally hate his transfer methods. It's like he can never make up his mind on what he wants. And when he's had time to, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do agree, mate. You know, he has had a lot of time. We should be finalising deals by now, and I really hope we do. Richard, another top six would be fantastic for us. Champions League is a bit of an overreach for now. We need consistency and to build slowly. Another season of Europa will do us the world of good. I absolutely agree with that, mate. Good afternoon, Lee. How are you, mate? The big teams are kicking themselves that they got rid of Moyes. Let's not be another club that let him go. In Moyes, we trust. We're massive. Hi, everyone. Aditya, Scott, Ashby and Perkins are good enough. I don't know about. I think Perkins has still got time to go, but Ashby's good. Played in the Premier League against Arsenal in the Europa League as well. He could play against high press Premier League. He's good enough. Perkins too. I think Flex is closer than Perkins at the moment, to be quite honest with you. Let's scroll down. Schmeigel, looks like Burnley are about to sign Weghorst from Wolfsburg for 12 mil. Good signing. I think he'll get a few goals for him. Might keep him up. Don't know. Trev, I'd love to see the cream of our crop of under 23s given game time sensibly. Offers so many advantages. I absolutely agree. Sorry, I can't do everyone's comments. I really can't. No one knows how good Odebeko, Flex, or any of our youngsters will do in the Premier League games if they're not played. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Okay, people, I've got to go. I've got to eat and I've got to go back to work. Thank you all for joining in, as usual. Much appreciated. And catch me on Claret and Booze tonight. I don't know if any of you subscribe, but I'll be on the Claret and Booze channel tonight. I think it's at 9 o'clock, and we're going to talk about transfers. What else? And then we've got other shows coming up. I'm going to do the West Ham Weekly. It's going to be on Sunday night, not Monday, in order to avoid a clash with the transfer window. And Howard, who have we signed? No one. So catch me on the Claret and Blues. I'll be a guest on that show tonight. And catch me, I'm doing the West Ham Weekly on Sunday night, not Monday, because we're going to do a transfer window deadline special on Monday night. That's it. Have a good afternoon, I hope, and a good weekend, etc. And catch you all soon.